Let's unbox the Hallmark Keepsake 2024 Qui-Gon Jinn Christmas Tree Ornament.
Villa Varykino. If it's Star Wars, we collect it.
Hello there. Thanks for visiting Villa Varykino. Of course, as Star Wars collectors, we like to collect a variety of Star Wars items, and that includes Christmas tree ornaments as well. And just this past week, we picked up a new one for our Christmas tree, the Hallmark Keepsake Qui-Gon Jinn Christmas Tree Ornament from 2024. Now, of course, it's only a few days until Christmas. It's a little bit late to be adding a new ornament to our tree, but the Hallmark Keepsake line in New Zealand is quite hard to find, and if you can find them, they generally are a little bit more expensive, so we try and get them on sale. So the best time to find Christmas tree ornaments on sale here in New Zealand is just before Christmas or just after. So we waited until one of those sales hit and we picked this one up at 60% off, which was just fantastic. So really excited to add this one to my collection. As I noted, the Keepsake line is a little bit more expensive and hard to find. We generally pick up the other Hallmark ornaments, the cheaper line. As you can see here, I have a few examples from previous years. These ones are cheaper and much easier to find. We can almost pick them up everywhere, including the supermarket. So we do generally have a lot of these ones on our tree, but it's quite exciting to find a new keepsake one to add to our collection. We have got quite a few keepsake ornaments over the years. There's some really cool designs. And of course, this year is the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace. So it made perfect sense to have an iconic character from the Phantom Menace on our Christmas tree this year. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. Let's take a quick look at the box and then we'll open it up. So of course, we've got the iconic Hallmark red and white packaging here. We've got the Hallmark Keepsake note there at the top, the Star Wars logo, and a nice clear image of the Qui-Gon ornament there on the front. We can see it is noted as Qui-Gon Jinn, Star Wars The Phantom Menace 25th Anniversary Christmas Tree Ornament. We have the Keepsake logo on red on both sides of the box. Copyright, you can see the original Australia New Zealand price tag there on the underside, and on the top we can see that it is noted as being the 2024 collection. It says 28th in the Star Wars series. Now, of course, there aren't just 28 keepsake ornaments. There are a lot of them, but that is noting that, of course, it's been quite a few years, 28 years, since Hallmark has been making Star Wars ornaments. According to StarWars.com, the very first Hallmark Star Wars ornament was the Millennium Falcon, released in 1996. So after all these years, there are a lot of Hallmark ornaments to collect, and we have a new one for our collection here. So I'm really excited. I love Qui-Gon. I love the Phantom Menace. So this one was a really fantastic find to pick up on sale. So let's get stuck in and open up the box. Now, this one, of course, is an electronic. We do have a couple of electronic ones in our collection from over the years. They're really quite cool, but unfortunately in New Zealand, very expensive. So we don't add those to our collection very often. So there he is. He comes nicely packaged in a clear tray with a lid to kind of keep him protected there. That's a really nice aspect to the keepsake line. They are designed to be well protected and stored for many years to come. And he's actually quite big. I know the box says that it's, not to scale. Of course, it does give you a pretty good size reference for the size of the box, but getting him out, he's almost action figure size. That looks really nice. I like the pose there too. So let's just open up the tray and get him out. He just lifts out nice and easily there. So of course, these are sort of artisan Christmas ornaments. It does say on the back that they are artist crafted there just above the barcode. So let's take a closer look at the sculpting here. So we've got a pretty good likeness of Qui-Gon. I can just see his eyes are kind of painted looking off to the side. I quite like that. We do have, of course, I'm going to look up at really, really fine paint details like I do for action figures. There is some tiny, tiny little paint lines there just around the hairline. I'm looking up at a very sort of closely there, but I do like the sculpting on the hair. We've got a nice kind of wash there, highlighting some of the detail there, and we've got some really nice sculpting on his tunic there as well. Some really nice draping. It even has a really, really fine sort of fabric texture there in the sculpting as well. A little bit hard to see, but we do have his iconic Jedi belt there with some painted details. We've got his lightsaber clip, the Jedi pouches going around there. I just make out the little Jedi food sort of pellet capsules underneath his sleeves there. And of course, he is using his two-handed grip to hold onto his iconic lightsaber there with a nice translucent green blade. It was a little bit unclear from the outside of the box whether this was going to be a painted blade or a translucent plastic one, but it's nice to see it is translucent, just a little bit more effective, and it feels a little bit more sort of, I don't know if I would say accurate, but I just like translucent lightsaber blades rather than painted ones. And of course, we've got sculpted pants here and his iconic brown Jedi boots. Qui-Gon has those really recognizable boots with all of those straps running down the front. I like the color there. And of course, he's not a figure, so we don't have any sort of peg holes or anything there on the underside. It's really nice. It's got an interesting feel to it. Of course, I'm very used to holding action figures, so I'm used to sort of, you know, some plasticky sort of bending parts and stuff like that, particularly with lower tunics, but these are rigid. I'm not going to squeeze them. I don't want to break anything like that, but there is a really interesting sort of light wash over the tunic as well. You can sort of see it sort of catching, and some of the sort of gather is just highlighting it. It's a really sort of faint sort of buttery yellow just over the tunic, just to give it a little bit more color and sort of highlight those sort of folds and drapes. I do have a very small mark here on the front of his sleeve, just this little tiny mark here. But overall, I am quite impressed with the paint job, especially on the face. I do pay particular attention to the character faces on my action figures. I really want to make sure that they are accurate and not sort of, you know, googly-eyed or anything like that. That's really fine paintwork on the eyes. You can just make out the sort of pupils looking to the side, a very sort of intense Qui-Gon sort of ready for action pose there. Really nice. So of course we can see this is a Christmas ornament. We do have a small metal ring atop the head, so he's going to hang in a nice sort of upright position. But I have to say, I do think it's interesting that the keepsake line doesn't include a hanger ribbon of any sort. Now, of course, as I mentioned, we often pick up those cheaper Hallmark ornaments over the years. You can see this one has a white ribbon. Now, I didn't add that. That is the one that it came with. So I think it's interesting that the cheaper Hallmark ornaments do come with a hanger ribbon, whereas the keepsake ones don't. And I'm not quite sure why that is. Over the years, of course, I've used all sorts of different ribbons to hang my keepsake ornaments, but I do kind of like them being like more official, that it would come with it. But yeah, I guess they let people sort of choose their own color and sort of hanging ribbon style so that it matches the aesthetic of your tree. So I do kind of understand giving people that option, but certainly with a regular Christmas tree ornament, you can just cut off the ribbon that it comes with and put your own in. So I kind of wish it just came with a nice white ribbon like their other line. But overall, this is a really, really nice ornament. Now, would I have paid full price for this one? I don't know. They're certainly getting up there in price. These ones cost double, triple the price of those other Hallmark ones. But I really did want to add this one to my collection this year. I love the Phantom Menace, and Qui-Gon tends to be a little bit forgotten sometimes because he's only in one of the Star Wars films. We don't see quite as much merchandise of him these years, and I kind of really wanted to celebrate just the impact of the Phantom Menace on my particular Star Wars collecting journey. It was the prequel era that really kickstarted my collecting journey, and I had so many Qui-Gon figures and 12-inch figures and things like that, and I don't have a Christmas tree ornament of Qui-Gon. So I really like the fact that he was featured in Hallmark's keepsake lineup this year. I wish we had the full lineup of keepsake ornaments here in New Zealand. Unfortunately, we only had a handful to choose from, but I was really happy to see that Qui-Gon was one of them. And this is a really nice figure. I'm just looking at the fine detail, that really fine sort of fabric texture showing up there, and that nice sculpting there of the hair. Really nice. Of course, they're not articulated like action figures, so I don't have any sort of articulation here to critique or anything like that. I'm just looking at the sculpting, and it looks really nice. I like the pose. He looks ready for action, and he's going to sort of balance and hang well as an ornament, of course, there. So he's really cool. Now, of course, I need to go and dig through my ribbon stash and find a nice ribbon so I can add him to my tree ready for Christmas Day, which is tomorrow. So I got him just in time to add to my tree for Christmas Day. So I think he looks really cool. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today as I opened up a new Christmas tree ornament featuring Qui-Gon Jinn, and I can't wait to add him to my tree. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the galaxy, and let's hang out again very soon for more Star Wars fun. May the Force be with you. If you're a Qui-Gon Jinn fan, I've also unboxed the Funko Pop Vinyl Duel of the Fates figures. That video is linked here in case you haven't already seen it, as well as a whole Star Wars collectibles playlist. This is the way.